talk about a hard but recommended historical read by the author Marlon James. When it comes to this author, this is not the first book that I've read by him. I am a size queen, so of course I had to pick up and read A Brief History. And just like this book, I gotta say that I loved it. He is a Jamaican writer. The language, although English, follows more along the Creole or patois style that you'll find on the island. If it's your first exposure when it comes to Jamaica, then it may be a little bit of a harder read. And you're definitely going to have to expect that with this book because it is set in the late 1700s. But what makes this book a hard read isn't the language so much as the message. The Book of Night Women follows the life of Lilith, starting with her traumatic but beautifully worded birth. This all takes place on a plantation in Montclair, and very quickly you learn that Lilith was born into slavery. If you read the blurb for the back of this book, it mentions that this is a novel of love and hate, but really heavy on the hate. Since our main character is a slave, there is incredible brutality, especially at the hands of slave masters, but also within the enslaved people themselves. There is no hiding from reality in this work of fiction. As the novel progresses, you see an ebb and flow when it comes to the brutality. But once again, because of the time period, there's very few beautiful moments. It's only in the language that the author uses to express the internal dialogue and thoughts of the characters. As Lilith becomes a woman, she starts to wonder where she comes from and who she's related to. You find that the group of night women all have a connection to her, and while they try to draw her into their family, there is also some manipulation going on. This is a novel about revolt and why people are driven to revolt, how many times the slaves tried, and how even though the white man's fear grew with each insurrection, it didn't stop them. What's going to be difficult about this novel is who the love interest for Lilith is. Quinn is an Irish man who is also looked down upon by the other whites in the area, but he still has a job as an overseer. But by the very last pages, I think you will realize that even though their relationship isn't what we would want for Lilith, it is all that she has. Disturbing and haunting, this is probably a must read, but it's certainly not an easy read. But his use of language, especially the technique he uses to start several different chapters as the story goes along, really has me fanning over Marlon James. Have you read the Book of Night Women yet? Are you haunted by his words? As always, I want to know, and make sure you share them in the comments below.